Hello everyone, Dr. Beena here. Today's topic is citric acid cycle or TCA cycle. Citric acid cycle is so called citric acid cycle because citrate is one of the first compound participating in the cycle, and it is also known as Krebs cycle because the reactions were formulated into a cycle by Sir Hans Krebs. It is most commonly known as tricarboxylic acid cycle or TCA cycle due to the involvement of tricarboxylate, that is citrate and isocitrate. And it is occurring in the mitochondria, and it yields large quantity of energy in the form of ATP. So TCA cycle is the final common pathway for the aerobic oxidation of carbohydrates, lipids and proteins. Citric acid cycle is a cyclic metabolic pathway located in the matrix of the mitochondria. So the location of the site of citric acid cycle is the mitochondrial matrix. To start with, acetyl coenzyme A, 2-carbon acetyl coenzyme A combines with 4-carbon oxaloacetate and forms a 6-carbon citrate. That is the first step occurring in the citric acid cycle. Each acetyl group received from transition reaction is oxidized to carbon dioxide. That is, 2 molecules of carbon dioxide are produced by each turn of acetyl coenzyme A entering into the TCA cycle. Now, what are the functions of the citric acid cycle? It is the final common pathway that oxidizes acetyl coenzyme A to carbon dioxide. All the common pathway where the carbohydrate, lipids and the amino acids getting oxidized, and finally it is converted to acetyl coenzyme A, and that acetyl coenzyme A is converted to carbon dioxide. And it acts as a source for reduced coenzymes that provides the substrate for the respiratory chain and then produces ATPs. So you know what is a reduced coenzyme? It is either NADH2 or FADH2, which are produced during the cyclical reaction, which will act as a substrate for the respiratory chain, that is electron transport chain, where it is converted to ATPs, that is by oxidative phosphorylation, it is converted to ATP. So the main function is the production of ATP. It acts as a link between the catabolic and the anabolic pathways. That is why it is called the amphibolic pathway. It has both the anabolic pathway, that is synthesis pathway, and the catabolic, that is degradation of the various substrate into finally carbon dioxide and water. Then it provides the precursor for the synthesis of certain amino acids and also nucleotides. Examples of amino acids, that is non-essential amino acids, can be synthesized from the precursors of the or the intermediates of the TCA cycle, and similarly nucleotides, that mainly purine and pyrimidine nucleotides. Now we'll see what are the sources of acetyl coenzyme. You have studied the sources in various metabolic pathways. In glycolysis, glucose is first converted to pyruvate, and then pyruvate is converted to acetyl coenzyme A by the reaction pyruvate dehydrogenase reaction, where the pyruvate is oxidatively decarboxylated and produces acetyl coenzyme A. So this is major source of acetyl coenzyme A. Then from the fatty acid, as you all know, beta oxidation produces acetyl coenzyme A as the end product. Then from the ketogenic amino acids like leucine, or from the phenylalanine, tryptophan, etc., acetyl coenzyme A can produce, and that will enter the TCA cycle for the final oxidation or in the TCA cycle. Now in this figure also you can see the how the acetyl coenzyme is produced and how it is entering the TCA cycle, and from where it is converted to reduced coenzymes are entering in the electron transport chain, finally respiratory chain, that is the final production of ATP. Okay, so first you can see glucose by glycolysis it produces pyruvate, then pyruvate dehydrogenase acting on pyruvate and produces acetyl coenzyme A, one carbon dioxide is removed. Then fatty acid on beta oxidation produces acetyl coenzyme A. Then amino acids, that is ketogenic amino acids, usually produces acetyl coenzyme A. See, from all these three sources we are getting acetyl coenzyme A. Then, of course, it is it is present in the mitochondrial matrix and combines with oxaloacetate and starts the cycle. And during the course of cycle, the reduced coenzymes like NADH2 and FADH2 are produced, which are entering the respiratory chain and produces ATPs. Okay. Now, what are the sources of acetyl coenzyme here? So, it can be produced from the pyruvate, that is by pyruvate to oxaloacetate, pyruvate carboxylase reaction, you can get the oxaloacetate. And then you can also obtain from the amino acid aspartic acid, that is by transamination reactions, and also from malate you can get the oxaloacetate by malate dehydrogenase reaction. So the oxaloacetate is there. Then pyruvate is converted to acetyl coenzyme. Acetyl coenzyme can also be converted obtained from the fatty acid oxidation. So oxaloacetate combines with the acetyl coenzyme, that is 4-carbon oxaloacetate combines with the 2-carbon acetyl coenzyme to form the citrate, that is a 6-carbon compound. This is the starting point of the TCA cycle, or the first reaction in the TCA cycle. Okay. Now we have to study the steps one by one in detail. So the first step is formation of citric acid. Second is the formation of isocitrate. Third is the formation of alpha ketoglutarate. The fourth is the formation of succinyl coenzyme. And fifth, generation of succinate. Sixth is the formation of fumarate. Seventh, formation of malate. And finally, eighth step, that is the regeneration of oxaloacetate. So starting there is oxaloacetate, and finally after finishing the cycle in the eighth step, the oxaloacetate is regenerated. So oxaloacetate is acting as a catalyst in the TCA cycle. The starting material, it is there, oxaloacetate plus acetyl coenzyme combines to form the citrate. And finally, on the eighth step again, malate is converted to oxaloacetate, and thus the regeneration of oxaloacetate is occurring. Okay. Now I will pass on to the first step. This is oxaloacetate here combines with acetyl coenzyme, and one molecule of coenzyme is released and it is converted to citrate, and the enzyme is citrate synthase. So 4-carbon oxaloacetate condenses with 2-carbon acetyl coenzyme to form 6-carbon compound citric acids by the enzyme citrate synthase. So the first enzyme in the TCA cycle is citrate synthase, and it is actually an irreversible reaction, but can be reversed by the ATP citrate lyase enzyme, which releases acetyl coenzyme for the fatty acid biosynthesis. You have studied fatty acid biosynthesis, right? So there the starting material is acetyl coenzyme. It can here the source of acetyl coenzyme can be like this also. That is here the citrate is produced in the mitochondria, right? So from the mitochondrial citrate goes to the cytoplasm, where it is acted upon by ATP citrate lyase enzyme, and it releases acetyl coenzyme, which can be used for the biosynthesis of fatty acid. Step 2, that is citric acid citrate is converted to isocitrate. That is an isomerization reaction. So citrate or citric acid is converted to isocitrate by a 2-step process, that is with the help of the enzyme aconitase. So in the first reaction, one water molecule is removed, that is dehydrated, and in the forming a 6-aconitate. That is immediately taking one more molecule of water, and that is rehydrated, and again the same enzyme aconitase is acting, and it produces isocitrate. So the citric acid is isomerized to isocitrate in the second step. So in this step, there is an inhibitor. Inhibitor, you know what is an inhibitor of an enzyme. So here the inhibitor is fluoroacetate, which is acting on the aconitase enzyme. This fluoroacetate is acting like a non-competitive inhibitor. You have studied various types of inhibition in the enzyme. So non-competitive inhibitor, uracetate is a non-competitive inhibitor of the aconitase enzyme. Okay, remember that you have to write the inhibitors while writing the regulation part. So the second step, we have synthesized isocitrate. Now the third step, that is isocitrate, is first dehydrogenated by the isocitrate dehydrogenase using the coenzyme NAD, and NADH plus H is released, and the product formed is oxalosuccinate. Now the oxalosuccinate is spontaneously decarboxylated by the same enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase to produce alpha ketoglutarate. So first there is dehydrogenation and then decarboxylation. So the enzyme is isocitrate dehydrogenase. So here NAD is required, and then one molecule of carbon dioxide which is coming from the acetyl coenzyme A is released. Okay, so remember the first step where the carbon dioxide molecule is released, and again NADH plus H is formed. What is the role of this NADH plus H? It is going to the electron transport chain where it is converted to 2.5 molecules of ATP. One molecule of NADH plus H will produces 2.5 molecules of ATP in the electron transport chain with the presence of oxygen and oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, now remember these 2 points, that is NADH plus H is going to the ETC and produces 2.5 molecules of ATP, and 1 molecule of carbon dioxide is released, and the isocitrate is converted to alpha ketoglutarate. First it is converted to oxalosuccinate, then spontaneously decarboxylated to alpha ketoglutarate. So the NADH generated in this step is later oxidized in the ETC to form the ATPs, that is 2.5 ATPs, and 6 carbon isocitrate is now converted into 5 carbon alpha ketoglutarate, and 1 carbon atom is released as carbon dioxide. Okay. Now the fourth step, where the alpha ketoglutarate is converted to succinyl coenzyme A by the enzyme alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. You might have heard about this enzyme. Just like pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, it is a multi-enzyme complex requiring 5 isoenzymes, and it contains 3 enzymes. PDH also you have studied 5 coenzymes are there and 3 enzymes are. Just like that, alpha ketoglutarate also is, dehydrogenase also is acting on the alpha ketoglutarate and produces succinyl coenzyme. So what are the requirements? Coenzymes which is required is TPP, lipomide, coenzyme A, NAD and FAD. These are the coenzymes required for the alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase enzyme action. So here coenzyme A is coming. That is, we have coenzyme A is produced in the first step itself. That is oxaloacetate to acetyl plus acetyl coenzyme A to form the citrate. 1 molecule of coenzyme A is released. That coenzyme A comes in this reaction and release 1 carbon dioxide molecule again. So the second carbon dioxide is coming, releasing in this step. That is alpha ketoglutarate to the succinyl coenzyme. Again here NAD is taken up in presence of TPP, lipomide, etc., and it is converted to NADH plus H. Again this NADH plus H is entering the electron transport chain where it is producing 2.5 molecules of ATP. So remember, in this step again there is production of carbon dioxide and also production of 2.5 molecules of ATP. So there is again an inhibitor acting, that is arsenate. Arsenate is the inhibitor which is acting, and it is acting as a non-competitive inhibitor for the alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, and that also we have to mention while writing the reaction. So the alpha ketoglutarate is oxidatively decarboxylated to succinyl coenzyme A, and 1 molecule of carbon dioxide is released, and NADH going to the ETC producing 2.5 molecules of ATP, right? So in this reaction I have shown just to understand the multi-enzyme complex reaction, just like PDH, alpha ketoglutarate requiring TPP, the thiamine pyrophosphate, lipomide, coenzyme A, FAD and NAD as 5 coenzymes, and finally it is producing succinyl coenzyme A. Now, the fifth step is succinyl coenzyme A is converted to succinate by the succinate thiokinase, and it is one important thing about this reaction is it is a substrate level phosphorylation step. What do you mean by substrate level phosphorylation? We have studied in your glycolytic pathway and also while studying the enzymes. Okay, anybody remembering? So here, without going to the complicated steps of electron transport chain, this high energy phosphate substance GTP is produced from the metabolic process, that is from the succinyl coenzyme itself, directly from the substrate. Here there is a thioester bond in the succinyl coenzyme A. So the energy from this thioester bond is released, which is trapped by the GDP and PI, and it is produced a high energy compound GTP. Okay, so GTP is produced, and this GTP can be converted to ATP, that is GTP plus ADP can form ATP plus ATP plus GDP. Okay, so the GTP, one molecule which is formed, can be converted to ATP. Remember, so here again one more molecule of ATP. So now we have synthesized 5 molecules by 2 reactions in NADH, and here from the GTP one more molecule. So altogether there is 6, isn't it? So the substrate level phosphorylation, whereby high energy phosphate GTP is generated from the energy trapped by the thioester bond of the succinyl coenzyme A. GTP is then converted to ATP. Okay. Then the sixth step, where the succinate is converted to fumarate by the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase, where the FAD is the coenzyme. So FAD is converted to FADH2, and it is going to the electron transport chain, produces 1.5 molecules of ATP, not 2.5. It is FADH2 produces only 1.5 molecules of ATP. So now this is plus 6.6 plus this 1.5, 7.5 molecules of ATPs are now synthesized, right? So succinate is acted upon by succinate dehydrogenase enzyme and forming the fumarate. Here the succinate is dehydrogenated to fumarate, and FADH2 will enter the ATC, and then ATP is produced, 1.5 molecules of ATP. Now the seventh step, where the fumarate is converted to malate by the hydrolysis of fumarate, that is fumarase enzyme, and water is added and the malate is produced. Fumarate is hydrolyzed to malate by the enzyme fumarase utilizing 1 molecule of water. So this is a simple reaction, and where the fumarate is converted to malate. The eighth step, or the final step, where the malate is converted to oxaloacetate by malate dehydrogenase enzyme. Again the coenzyme is NAD. NAD is converted to NADH plus H plus, and it is going to the electron transport chain, where it is converted to 2.5 molecules of ATP. So 7.5 molecules of ATP we have already studied. Then again 2.5, that is total of 10 molecules of ATP is produced from one cycle of reactions. Okay, one cycle where the oxaloacetate and acetyl coenzyme combines and finally forming the oxaloacetate and carbon dioxide, water, etc. So malate is converted to oxaloacetate by the malate dehydrogenase enzyme, which is the eighth step, where the regeneration of oxaloacetate is occurring. So remember, the starting material is oxaloacetate plus acetyl coenzyme A. Here oxaloacetate is regenerated, and moreover acetyl coenzyme A, 2 carbons are released as the two carbon dioxide molecules. So malate is oxidized to oxaloacetate by malate dehydrogenase with the coenzyme NAD, and NADH generated will enter the ATC to produce 2.5 molecules of ATP. Okay, this much is the cycle of reaction. You have to draw and study the reaction cycle properly with all the substrate, enzymes, coenzymes, and the energetics, everything. So then only you'll get full mark. You need not write the structure of the substrate, only the name of the substrate, that is malate, oxalate, etc. Okay. Now this is the picture where you can see the whole of the citric acid cycle. Oxaloacetate to acetyl coenzyme, citrate is formed. Citrate is converted to isocitrate, that is isomerized to isocitrate through cis-aconitate by the aconitase enzyme. Then isocitrate is converted to alpha ketoglutarate by the isocitrate dehydrogenase enzyme, and then intermediate is oxalosuccinate. Then alpha ketoglutarate is again converted to succinyl coenzyme by alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, and then it is acted upon by thiokinase, where one molecule of GTP is produced by the substrate level phosphorylation. Then succinate is converted to fumarate by the succinate dehydrogenase enzyme, where FAD is used and FADH2 is produced. Then fumarate is hydrolyzed to malate by the fumarase enzyme, and then finally malate is oxidized to oxaloacetate by the NAD, that is malate dehydrogenase is the enzyme, again NADH plus H is produced. So there are steps where three NADH plus H plus are produced, that is in the steps where you can see, that is isocitrate dehydrogenase step, alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase steps, and the malate to oxalate is malate dehydrogenase step. Then one molecule of FADH2 is produced by the succinate dehydrogenase, that is succinate is converted to fumarate. Then one molecule of ATP from GTP is produced by the succinate thiokinase step, that is substrate level phosphorylation, where the succinyl coenzyme is converted to succinate. First GTP is formed. From that GTP, ATP is formed with the reaction with ADP, and the GTP is converted to GDP, and ADP is converted to ATP. So total 10 molecules of ATP are formed from the 3 NADH plus H plus 1 FADH plus 1 substrate level phosphorylation ATP. Okay, this much you have to study, and the steps where the carbon dioxide is released, that is isocitrate dehydrogenase steps, and this the first one. Then alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase is the second step. Then the succinate coenzyme succinate dehydrogenase step, that is again one inhibitor is acting, malonate. Malonate, you have studied the competitive inhibitor malonate, which is the competitive inhibitor of succinate dehydrogenase, where succinate is converted to fumarate. That also you have to mention. So in this half part of the figure, you can see acetyl coenzyme, that is 2 carbon entering the cycle. These carbons are released as carbon dioxide in the steps 3 and 4, that is isocitrate dehydrogenase reaction and alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase reaction. So acetyl coenzyme is completely oxidized by the time where the cycle reaches the alpha ketoglutarate. So when it reaches the reaction of alpha ketoglutarate, it completely oxidized. Acetyl coenzyme completely oxidized, and 2 molecules of carbon dioxide is released. So in this figure, you can see all the reactions plus all the inhibitor, that is regulators, physiological regulators, and also the energetics, mainly the energetics, where NADH is produced in the third step, and then it is going to the electron transport chain and producing 2.5 molecule. Again in alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase step, 2.5 molecules are released. Then one GTP is produced, and again FADH2 is going to the electron transport chain producing 1.5 molecules of ATP, and finally that is malate dehydrogenase reaction, step reaction, where the NADH plus H is produced, which is going to the electron transport chain and producing again 2.5 molecules. So totally 10 molecules of ATP. Remember, don't make mistakes. One cycle of reactions of TCA cycle will produces 10 molecules of ATP. Okay. So the reactions are shown separately here. That is steps also, number of the steps. That the third step, isocitrate to alpha ketoglutarate. NADH plus H is the coenzyme formed and it produces 2.5 molecules of ATP. Fourth is the alpha ketoglutarate and converted to succinyl coenzyme A by alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. NADH plus H is formed and it is producing 2.5 molecules of ATP. Then fifth is the succinyl coenzyme A to succinyl thiokinase, where this is the substrate level phosphorylation from the succinyl coenzyme A. The energy released is taken up by the GDP to form the GTP, and that is converted to ATP. So one ATP is formed. Then succinate to fumarate, succinate dehydrogenase reaction, FADH2 is produced, which is producing 1.5 molecules of ATP. Then malate to oxaloacetate by malate dehydrogenase, NADH plus H is produced, which is going and producing 2.5 molecules of ATP. So total of 10 molecules. Understood this much? Now this is the stoichiometry of the citric acid cycle. So what are the compounds used for entering the cycle, and finally what are the products? So the first product substrate is oxaloacetate and acetyl coenzyme A. Then all these coenzymes, that is FAD, 3-NAD, then GDP plus PI, all these are required, utilized in these reaction cycles. And finally, 2 carbon dioxide molecule, 1 coenzyme A, oxaloacetate is regenerated, FADH2, 3 NADH plus H, and 1 GTP are produced. So these FADH2 and 3 NADH are going to the electron transport chain and produces ATPs. So like that, totally 10 ATPs plus 2 carbon dioxide molecule and 1 coenzyme is released in the citric acid cycle. Okay. So remember, starting material is oxaloacetate and acetyl coenzyme, and finally it is converted to carbon dioxide, and then it is also producing energy, 10 ATPs. Now we have to know something about the significance of the citric acid cycle. That complete oxidation of acetyl coenzyme is one of the important point about the citric acid cycle. Then ATP generation, of course, we have studied. It is the final common oxidative pathway, that also we studied. Then integration of metabolic process, various metabolic pathways that we are going to see. And fat is burned under the wick of carbohydrate. That is, again, we will explain. Then excess carbohydrates are converted to neutral fat. When there is more carbohydrate, finally it is converted to fat and stored. Then no net synthesis of carbohydrate from fat. So carbohydrate can be converted to fat, but fat cannot be converted back to carbohydrates. Then carbon skeleton of amino acids finally entering the citric acid cycle. So many amino acids can be, carbon skeleton of the amino acids are entering the citric acid cycle and getting finally oxidized. And then it has got an amphibolic it is an amphibolic pathway that we have explained already. Anabolism and catabolism both occurring in the pathways, and then anaplerotic role also is there that we are going to discuss. So these are the significance of citric acid cycle. So you have to mention the significance when you are asked to write about the citric acid cycle. First, that is complete oxidation that we have studied, oxidized to 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. Then ATP generation, of course, 10 ATPs are generated both via the substrate level plus the electron transport chain. That is 1 ATP alone from the substrate level phosphorylation. The other thing, 9 ATPs are through the ETC from the reduced coenzymes like NADH plus H and FADH2. Okay. So it is final common oxidative pathway. So you can see various molecules, biomolecules entering the pathway and getting oxidized. So here glucose through pyruvate, either it can be converted to acetyl coenzyme A or it can be converted to oxaloacetate. Then tryptophan through alanine, it is going to form the pyruvate by transamination. Then it is converted to oxaloacetate and entering. Then aspartate is transaminated to oxaloacetate. You have studied what is transamination, and then here the amino acid, one alpha amino group of aspartate is given to a keto acid to form the another amino acid and a keto acid. So aspartate is on transamination produces oxaloacetate. Then phenylalanine tyrosine, it is forming fumarate and acetoacetate, and which may enter the citric acid cycle. Then certain ketogenic amino acids like valine, isoleucine, methionine, amino acids like valine, isoleucine, methionine, and threonine through propionyl coenzyme will produce succinyl coenzyme enter the TCA cycle. Similarly, odd chain fatty acid oxidation will produces propionyl coenzyme that also is converted to succinyl coenzyme and enter the TCA cycle. Then arginine, histidine, and proline through glutamate, and it is glutamate is transaminated to alpha ketoglutarate and entering the pathway. So these are the things entering the pathway, that is influx, or and where it is finally oxidized and converted to carbon dioxide, water, and the production of ATP. Now, the efflux of TCA cycle intermediates or some pathways can originate from the TCA cycle. So, what are they? That is the thing you have to know. What is the pathways originating from the intermediates of the TCA cycle? So, here you can see oxaloacetate again can be converted to aspartate, and aspartate can use for various. It is not an essential amino acid, none can be synthesized. And then malate is used to convert oxaloacetate, and then oxaloacetate is used for gluconeogenesis. So gluconeogenesis substrate, these intermediates can be used. Then succinyl coenzyme can be used for the synthesis of heme. That is, for the first step on the synthesis of heme, succinyl coenzyme is required. That is succinyl coenzyme plus glycine to form the delta aminolevulinic acid, which is the first step in the heme synthesis. Then succinyl coenzyme can also be utilized for the ketolysis. You have studied ketone body metabolism, where the synthesis in the liver and the utilization occurs in other tissues. With the help of the enzyme thiophorase, succinyl coenzyme combines with acetoacetate to form the acetoacetyl coenzyme, which is then utilized by the various tissue by splitting into two molecules of acetyl coenzyme, which finally enter the TCA cycle and produces energy. Okay, so that is the ketolysis. Then alpha ketoglutarate can be transaminated to glutamic acid, and glutamic acid can produce various substances like GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, which is a neurotransmitter. Then acetyl coenzyme citrate from this TCA cycle can enter this acted upon by an ATP citrate lyase enzyme, and acetyl coenzyme can be released, which can be used for the fatty acid biosynthesis, or acetyl coenzyme, which is formed from the pyruvate, also can use for the synthesis of fatty acids. Okay, so like this, so many pathways can originate from the intermediates of the TCA cycle. Now, integration of major metabolic pathways. We have studied the source of acetyl coenzyme, right? From the glucose, then fatty acid and ketogenic amino acid, acetyl coenzyme are formed. Now, it can be utilized, how they are interlinked with the other metabolic pathways. So, acetyl coenzyme oxidized in the TCA cycle, that is what we have studied. Then it can be used for the fatty acid biosynthesis. That is, first it is starting material of fatty acid biosynthesis is acetyl coenzyme. Then acetyl coenzyme can be converted into cholesterol, and then from the cholesterol, steroid hormones or the vitamin D, everything can be synthesized, and the acetyl coenzyme can produce ketone bodies. So in starvation and all, the ketone bodies are important, and for the energy and all. So these are the method by which integration of major metabolic pathways occurring. Okay. Now, fat is burned on the wick of the carbohydrate. What is the meaning of that? The oil in the lamp alone cannot be lightened, isn't it? So, if there is a oil in the lamp without a wick, what happens? It cannot be lightened. So, a flame should be there. Even if the flame is there, need a wick. What is that wick? For the complete oxidation of acetyl-CoA, it needs the help of oxaloacetate. So the oxaloacetate is acting as a, and it is needed for the complete oxidation of this acetyl-CoA. So it is acting as a wick, and then the major source of oxaloacetate is pyruvate. So we have seen already the oxaloacetate is produced from the pyruvate by the pyruvate carboxylase reactions. So when there is no enough carbohydrate, fat is not oxidized. That is, acetyl-CoA cannot be oxidized. That is the meaning of fat is burned on the wick of carbohydrate. So here the wick is oxaloacetate. Then excess carbohydrates are converted to neutral fat. Okay. So how it is occurring? When there is plenty of carbohydrate, glucose is converted to pyruvate by glycolysis. Then it is converted to acetyl-CoA by the pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. Then acetyl-CoA is converted to fat, that is fatty acid biosynthesis occurs, and like that excess carbohydrates are converted to fat and stored as the neutral fat in the adipose tissues. Then PDH reaction is irreversible. So fat cannot be converted back to glucose. The source of acetyl-CoA is from pyruvate, right? So if the reaction is reversible, this can be converted back to glucose. But here the PDH pyruvate dehydrogenase reaction is irreversible. So acetyl-CoA never can be converted to glucose, or the fatty acid never can be converted to glucose. That you have to remember. That is, carbohydrate can be converted to fat, but fat cannot be converted to carbohydrate. Okay. So you can see here glucose pyruvate PDH reaction acetyl-CoA fatty acid. So from carbohydrate fat is produced. When fatty acid is there, it can be converted to acetyl-CoA beta oxidation, and it enters the TCA cycle and produces carbon dioxide, but it cannot go to the formation of glucose. Okay, why? The acetyl-CoA fully is oxidized in the TCA cycle. Okay, there is nothing behind, only the oxaloacetate is remaining after the cycle. So no net synthesis of carbohydrates from fat. Again shown here, carbohydrate converted to fat, but fat or acetyl-CoA cannot be converted to fat. Fat or acetyl-CoA cannot be converted to carbohydrate. Fat cannot be converted to glucose. Amphibolic pathway, that is both catabolic and anabolic. Amphi in Greek means both. It has got dual function, both catabolism of carbohydrate, fatty acid and amino acids, and also anabolism occurring. What is anabolism? It is providing intermediates for the synthesis of many compounds required for the body, which are important compounds are glucose, that is by gluconeogenesis, then transamination, that is non-essential amino acid can be synthesized, and fatty acid synthesis can occur, then heme synthesis, that we have already explained, succinyl-CoA used for the heme synthesis. Okay. So that is the anabolic part. Then what is the meaning of anaplerotic role? Anaplerotic role means filling up role. That's means up. Pleroticos means filling. That is filling up role or replenishing role of TCA cycle. The TCA cycle acts as a source of precursor for the synthetic pathway that we have already explained. Heme from the succinyl-CoA, aspartate from oxaloacetate. So there are these substrate are lacking, decreasing in amount in the TCA cycle. So they have to be replenished by the supply of these 4 carbon units. From somehow they have to be replenished or again to be produced. So examples are these filling up reactions, that is pyruvate can be converted to oxaloacetate, glutamate can be converted to alpha ketoglutarate, and aspartate can be converted to oxaloacetate. That is these two reaction, glutamate and aspartate on transamination can be converted to alpha ketoglutarate and oxaloacetate. And then fumarate from you can get from urea cycle, and purine synthesis, and then catabolism of phenylalanine and tyrosine. All these produce fumarate, and fumarate is one of the intermediate of the TCA cycle. Then carbon skeleton of amino acids through propionyl coenzyme, that we have already seen, valine, isoleucine, methionine and threonine through propionyl coenzyme. It is entering to the point of succinyl coenzyme. Similarly, short chain fatty acids also through propionyl coenzyme entering. So these are the some important filling up reactions. So that is the anaplerotic role of the TCA cycle. Okay. So amphibolic means both anabolism and catabolism. Catabolism is the oxidation of various biomolecules like carbohydrates, fats, and amino acids, etc. Then catabolism means anabolism means synthesis of various substance which is required for the body, that is heme synthesis and gluconeogenesis from the oxaloacetate, like that. Then transamination for non-essential amino acids, hemes. All these are the various anabolic role of the TCA cycle intermediates. Okay. Now the regulation. Usually any metabolism regulation is occurring in these headings, that is substrate availability, product feedback inhibition, allosteric inhibition, and covalent modification. Only when enough substrates are there, the pathway will be, or metabolic pathway will be operating. But if there is excess production of product, then it can also regulate by feedback inhibition. And there are allosteric activators or inhibitors for the regulatory enzymes. And then covalent modification means either phosphorylation or dephosphorylation, which will stimulate or inhibit the enzyme activity. So the major three enzymes are the citrate synthase, then alpha isocitrate dehydrogenase, and the alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase steps. And before that, pyruvate is converted to acetyl coenzyme. That step also can be regulated so that the level of acetyl coenzyme, if it is more, TCA cycle will be operating. If the level of the acetyl coenzyme is less, when there is enough ATP in the cell, then the cycle of reactions will be inhibited. Okay, that we can see in the next step. Here you can see ATP is the inhibitor of the PDH complex, and the AMP coenzyme and then NAD and the calcium are the stimulator. Then for the citrate synthase, NADH and then the ATP are the citrate are the inhibitors. And similarly, here also ATP is the inhibitor for the isocitrate dehydrogenase, and for the alpha ketoglutarate, succinyl coenzyme and NADH are the inhibitors, and the ADP is the activator. Okay. So regulation in details. The three enzymes which are regulatory enzymes are citrate synthase, which is inhibited by citrate and ATP. And that is, in general, if the cell has enough energy, that is energy status of the cell is high, there will be inhibition of the enzymes of the citric acid cycle. Okay, so ATP, if it is small, then it will inhibit the citrate synthase. Similarly, the substrate citrate is product is citrate, that is small, then it is inhibiting the citrate synthase. Then isocitrate dehydrogenase is inhibited by NADH plus H. Similarly, that also NADH, if it is small, then it can produce ATP, so that naturally there is inhibition. Then alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase inhibited by succinyl coenzyme and the NADH. Then ATP inhibits citrate synthase. In general, energy status is the one which is regulating the cycle. Then citrate, actually the citrate inhibits the phosphofructokinase, the key enzyme of the glycolysis. So what happens when the glycolysis is inhibited? Naturally the pyruvate formed is less and the acetyl coenzyme produced also will be less. So the TCA cycle will be inhibited. Then availability of the availability and the cellular level of cellular need of ATP is another way by which the TCA cycle is regulated. If the energy level is low, it is stimulated. If the energy level is high, it will be inhibited. The cycle is tightly coupled to the respiratory chain providing ATP. So usually this cycle and the electron transport chains are tightly coupled so that ATP level can be maintained. Now the inhibitors, we have already mentioned during the reactions, but you can write in that in the cycle itself, you can mark it out in each reactions the inhibitors. Okay, so fluoroacetate in the step aconitase, that is second step, where the isocitrate is citrate is converted to isocitrate. That reaction aconitase is the enzyme, and the fluoroacetate is a non-competitive type of inhibitor. Then arsenate, again it is a non-competitive type of inhibition to the enzyme alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. That is the fourth step where the alpha ketoglutarate is converted to succinyl coenzyme. Okay, so that reaction is inhibited by the arsenate, which is acting as a non-competitive type of inhibition. Then, of course, the malonate, you are familiar with malonate. Usually you used to write in the competitive type of inhibition, the example, succinate dehydrogenase inhibitor, which is a malonate. Malonate is the inhibitor of succinate dehydrogenase because malonate has the structural similarity to the succinate to fumarate reaction. Succinate dehydrogenase is inhibited by malonate. It is a competitive type of inhibition, and other two are the non-competitive type of inhibition. So in general, the metallic compounds, arsenate, etc. also inhibit certain enzymes of the pathway. So this much regarding the TCA cycle. Usual question will be just reactions of TCA cycle for 3 marks. Then you have to write them from the starting and you have to complete the cycle and draw the cycle with all the substrates, coenzymes, and enzymes and the inhibitors. Then the generation of ATP, everything should be shown and by the single figure so that everything is explained there. If it is for 5 mark, you have to write the source of a acetyl coenzyme. I just mention it, and then what are the significance and the energetics regulation, etc. You have to write in short along with the reactions. Okay, so it is an important pathway, that is integration of all the metabolic pathways are there, and finally acetyl coenzyme is converted to carbon dioxide, and the metabolic products are finally producing ATPs. One cycle of TCA cycle produces 10 ATP. Don't forget that. Okay, thank you.